Ndị be anyị ekene m unu ọzọ n'ụbọchị nke taa. Daalụ nke unu si na-esoro anyị ya na-eme na n'iru akwụkwọ na Eastern News 24. A sị ka ụbọchị nke taa mara anyị mma. A sị na anyị ga-adị ka echi, na-echi ada agwụ agwụ. Otu anyị kwuru otu akụ ya dịrịrị. Ise 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 dịka o si dị, dịka anyị si kwuo unu nkwa na ị ga na-agbakwanụ mbọ ewetara unu daily update n'iru akwụkwọ gbasịta maka ihe na-eme n'ala Igbo na gbasịta maka nwere onwe a na-azọ. O nwere ihe Biafran Prime Minister kwuru n'iru akwụkwọ a mma like ka Igbo ma na-ege ntị. Igbo mụrụ njem ọzọ, unu ga ya bụ ife, unu ga-esia ya, unu achịkọ mmụọ unu ọnụ wee nye alụ ife unu chelụ gbasịta maka ife a okwugasị dị iche iche n'iru akwụkwọ nke nna ama mbe ka nsị ka mmakpọwa aha ya, mana mmala ike unu gee ya n'ofu n'ofu, unu ga-esia ya, unu adọrọpụrụ ya kọmentị unu n'iru akwụkwọ. All right, over to you, sir.
Of his countrymen for independence as one of tears, fire, and blood. This struggle Lumumba went on should make them profoundly proud because it was a noble and just struggle that put an end to the humiliating bondage imposed on us by force, just like the Biafran people are going through it today. His countrymen had suffered. They were insulted just like the Biafra people simply because of the color of their skin. They were, as he said, treated as second-class citizens, just like the Biafra people can never be president in Nigeria. Living in tumble-down straw huts, whilst the white Europeans live in magnificent houses in the Congo's city. But all of this had passed. The Congo regained its independence, and in that freedom, Lumumba was determined to show the world what the black man can do, just like many of us in Biafra liberation are saying today. Their country would be the center of radiance of the whole of Africa. They would establish new just laws, put an end to discrimination, and strive for a piece of courage and goodwill. Lumumba plan constituted a truly inspiring, hopeful vision. But sadly, a year after Congo's independence, Lumumba was killed by troop loyal to the army chief, and his dream for Congo never become reality. Those of you in Biafra land that are waiting to become the Congo Army Congo, or those army of Congo in Biafra land, you will be eliminated in due time by the true patriotic forces. You will never have a place in Biafra land. The Congo army will never have a place in Biafra land after independence of Biafra has been restored. Fellow Biafrans, I can go on and on and on, making references to the evolution of freedom, how men and women shaping the world that we all enjoy today by their sacrifice and selfless services to their people. Of course, I cannot end this great speech today and address to the Biafra people as we are making progress without making reference to Martin Luther King Jr. in his speech, I Have a Dream. King started by describing the miracles of the segregation of the chains of discrimination under which African American has suffered for so many years, despite their supposed emancipation. He refers to the Declaration of Independence as a bad check, as far as black people were concerned, in that their unalienable right of life, liberty, and the pursuit of happiness had never been upheld. But Martin Luther King saw hope after this summer of the Negro legitimate discontent. There would be an invigorating autumn of freedom and equality. And unless this came about, the whirlwind of revolt will continue to shake the foundation of our nation. And I am borrowing from King that Biafra Liberation Army, Biafra resistance fighters, as long as Biafra continue to suffer under Nigeria, we will continue to revolt, and there will never be peace in Nigeria until Biafra exit. We will make sure that the war is all over Nigeria for the liberation and the freedom of our people, and of course, for the self-defense of our people. We are going to make sure that every security apparatus in Nigeria will be decimated in time. That's where the attack against Biafra are being planned. So allow us to go, or you will be given hell. King also mentioned and said, but in urging revolution like Gandhi, King urged against violence and hate. Let us not seek to satisfy our thirst for freedom by drinking from the cup of bitterness and hatred. After all, the freedom of white people is inextricably bound to our freedom, he said. It is then that King described his dream, a dream that is deeply rooted in the American dream, that one day we will recognize that all men are created equal. Now, referring to the first John Ball, that all men are alike. After decade, many years, King Martin Luther King made a reference to that. The hope that one day sons of former slave and sons of former slave owner will be able to sit down together at the table of brotherhood. It is a dream that is rooted in love, in compassion for the whole of mankind, a dream of equality and brotherhood. King ended his speech with the famous exclamation, "Let freedom ring." And indeed, freedom did ring. In 1964, the Civil Rights Act was passed, and in 1965, the Voting Rights Act was passed, which finally gave federal agencies effective power to enforce the rights of Black Americans. It is where it is wearing for, if it is wearing for King, and if it wearing for the great speech in Washington, perhaps those acts would never have become a reality. Today, they left the problem and start tackling it at home. But I have this to tell the enablers in Biafra land that are releasing speeches and press release against the Biafra sit at home. True peace is not measured by the absence of tension emanating from sit at home. But peace in Biafra land will be measured by the presence of justice, and where there is no justice, there is no peace. The evolution of freedom. I want to refrain myself and repeat what I said for easy understanding. My message to Nigeria Islamic State today: they left the problem they created and start tackling Biafra sit at home. But I will tell them this, to those enablers, that for you to have peace and to measure the peace, whether in Biafra territory or other parts of Nigeria, peace cannot be measured by the absent of tensions emanating from sit-at-home order. But peace will only be measured by the presence of justice. And where there is no justice, there is no peace. Mazi Nnamdi Kanu is still illegally being detained. It is a fact. Court has freed him. While Boko Haram are being recruited into the Nigerian army, Biafrans are being abducted, enforcing their disappearance every day. And of course, we will never lay down our arms until Biafra is achieved. Fellow Biafrans, I want you to understand that the government in exile is making history and nothing is going to stop the Biafra freedom from coming. We know and have the key. Nelson Mandela, in one of his speech, an ideal for which I am prepared to die, at the end of his trial in 1964, Nelson Mandela took to the podium to explain the ANC reason for abandoning Gandhi principles of non-violence to their freedom, and instead adopting the militant method of sabotage against property, which the activist Emmeline Pankhurst had also encouraged. At that time, Mandela explained that his decision to support militant aggression was not made through recklessness or from any love for violence. Instead, it was the result of a calm and sober assessment of the political situation that has risen after many years of tyranny, exploitation, oppression of many people by the whites. Non-violent action had not worked and had often ended in the death of hundreds of protesters, just like Nigeria are doing to Biafra today. Choose. He argued in sabotage and hostility. The most powerful part of the speech of Mandela, though, came to the end. At the end, in his closing speech, Mandela said his lifelong commitment to the African struggle. I have cherished the ideal of democracy and a free society in which all persons will live together in harmony and with equal opportunities. It is an ideal for which I hope to live for and to see realized. But my Lord, if it is need be, it is an ideal for which I am prepared to die. Apparently, as he delivered this final speech, Mandela started staring at the judge directly in the eye. Happily, unlike Martin Luther King Jr., who adopted the approach of Gandhi of nonviolence, Mandela wasn't killed for his belief, and indeed, he became the president of South Africa in 1994. Mandela died in 2013 from a respiratory infection, though his legacy lives on. While Mandela's funeral was ongoing, Obama was there, present. Obama also quoted the speech in a tribute to Mandela in Johannesburg. While Obama was making the speech, Mandela was still in the list as a terrorist by the CIA. Whether they forgot to remove his name from the terrorist list or not, the facts are there that while Obama was giving eulogy to Mandela, he was still listed as a terrorist in the United States. Evolution of freedom. Evolution. Today, everybody is taking Mandela as a legend, which he is and was. Fellow Biafran, I want to make sure that the history we are making today, that you know the foundation of the actions, decisions we are taking today to liberate you. Che Guevara is a Cuban. He's a Cuban revolutionary. He was captured and executed on the order of the Bolivian president in 1967. A few days later, Fidel Castro made a speech in honor of his close friend and comrade. Castro described Che as an incomparable soldier and an incomparable leader who was both capable and courageous. He was a person of visionary intelligence and a broad culture. Two, but a man of ideas and a man of action. His death is, of course, a loss. But as Castro explained, the artist may die, but what will surely never die is the art to which he has dedicated his life. Ojukwu started Biafra. Ojukwu is no more. Biafra is here. Philip Effiong started Biafra. Philip Effiong is no more. Biafra is here. Many heroes of Biafra who started Biafra, they are all gone. But Biafra is here. How true is this? The revolutionary always has that famous line in the film V for Vendetta. Beneath this mask, there is an idea. Mr. Greedy and the idea are bulletproof. Fidel Castro went on to say that causes the government today, kidnapping Mazi Nnamdi Kanu doesn't mean that Biafra have ended. But you boasted when you rendition him to Nigeria, how you have ended Biafra. You boasted. In fact, after all, Che was not just a great general. He was also a great thinker. And by killing him, they have not eliminated.
Ndị be anyị daalụ niile n'okunu si wee na-esola anyị a na-eme n'elu akwụkwọ na Eastern News 24. Unu anụgonu ka ya bụ ife si wee gbata wee kwụrụ. Asọ anyị nụrụ si megide ya kọrọ nwanne ya. Unu fụ na Biafran Prime Minister kọwara ihe niile dịka o si wee dị. Dịka ige ya bụ ife ndị ama m na igere ya gịnị ka ị nwere ike ikwu gbasịta maka ihe ndị a niile ọ rụtagasị aka dị iche iche n'elu akwụkwọ gbasịta maka some questions a na-ajụ ya and gbasịta maka ka o si wee zakwa anya ya kọwasịara ndị mmadụ na Maazị Nnamdi Kanu ka bụ leader of indigenous people of Biafra. So ka ife nwere ike ikwu gbasịta maka ya bụ ife dropara ya on the comment section below. Ọzọ dịka ibe ya bụ cheta na ya bụ Eastern News 24.